Welcome to the Love Holistic Living podcast, your roadmap to heal and align mind, body, and soul and become intuitive through food, pleasure, and spirituality with your host and Italian friend, Sara Garofalo. If you think you're making conscious decision from your conscious mind, then I'm going to break that down for you. You're not. 95% of the decision that you're making today are dictated by your subconscious mind. And that is exactly what we're going to be talking about in this episode. It is definitely something that I love to talk about, and also I love to help clients with through my subconscious reprogramming session, because these are the sessions that are helping people to heal faster than the speed of light. And I'm not joking. I come from, saying this from my personal experience, because the reason why, if you know my story and what happened to me, not the one in the book, which that's my first story, like it's the spiritual awakening with food. The second one that I recently actually made an Instagram post about, to talk about, like really like the second half, which is or was, which is when I was broke and broken about 4.5 years ago at 26 years old with two kids under three. And I was going through a very high conflict divorce in a foreign country. Again, I have no family here, and all of my life literally collapsed. All of what I knew fell apart in an instant, and it was really devastating because at the same time COVID happened. So we were isolated and I had to pull it all together. But thank God for these sessions that I was introduced to from actually this concept of this subconscious mind, because I had zero idea. And I have always had the dream to build my dream life, to live in abundance and travel all over the world and to live in luxury. And it's always been my dream, yet at the time, I had zero money, zero income. I literally was broke, facing homelessness because I didn't know how to pay my rent. We at the time did not have an order that established what I was going to receive and or what was going to happen. And I didn't know. I'm laughing right now looking back, because I remember sitting on the front porch of my home and crying to the universe because I didn't know how to get through this. Like I was like, if I don't pay my rent in pretty much less than a week, like I could be evicted and I don't know where to go. I don't even know who is going to take me and the kids. And at that time, I pretty much had 100% custody. And what am I supposed to do? Like I was pretty much a stay-at-home mom. And yes, I did work, but just you can't call it work. Like being away from the kids for like less than 4 hours, maybe like less than 2 days a week. Like it was kind of like working, but slash getting like a little break, but I wasn't bringing in money, and I was primarily the primary taker of my kids at the time. So I literally did not know. But this subconscious reprogramming really helped my life to shift. And I'm going to tell you how this work. I'm going to help you shift. And I'm also going to give you some insightful stories of how can you apply this to your journey. For example, I use this whenever my clients are stuck in not being able to lose weight and or not being able to follow through their words, because They want to be healthy, they want to work out, yes, yet self-sabotaging thoughts and actions come up. And I'm sure that you've been there somehow at some point in time. And or you can use this in love. So I have clients that come to me and they keep attracting the same exact person. And oftentimes it's a toxic personality. And what it is, it's that we have a code, like we have this subconscious program deep down into the subconscious mind that is sending the signal that that's what we deserve and or are worthy or and we ended up attracting it, but it comes from like this deep rooted limiting belief that that's all we get in life. And you can apply this to money. That's how literally I have been able to move past certain obstacles in my life, is because I went into an inner journey and I unrooted limiting beliefs that were stored in my subconscious mind that maybe came from like my past experience with my parents and or things that they said about money and things that I believed. And so not anybody's fault. It's just what was ingrained into my head and what I believed to be truth, but those were limiting beliefs. In today's episode, I'm really going to talk about specifically about health and weight loss and how can self-sabotage self-sabotaging thoughts can actually become self-sabotaging behaviors and actually things that you do to get out of what you need to do. And how can you shift this? By I'm going to start with a quote that I wrote in my book. If you haven't grabbed that yet, it's on manjacookbook.com. And I'm reading right now at page 61. If you haven't opened my book yet, just open it up because it starts like this. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. This was a quote by my favorite and most famous like psychiatrist Carl Jung, and this stuck with me since the day I've heard it, which was about like when I was broken like during my divorce. And I did hear from a coach that he was quoting Carl Jung, and I was like, what does he mean? Like, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And believe me when I say that all of my life, I lived a life thinking that everything was about fate. And honestly, it's not. And I'm not talking about faith. I'm talking about fate. It's literally the opposite. Like you are the creator of your own experience. And the sooner you realize this, the sooner you can control and attract the right and the right environment, the right people in the right situations. If you just understand that you are your worst enemy, first of all, with your own limiting beliefs, and you are also your own blessing. Because once you get past this, it's golden. And by the way, side note, I perform the subconscious reprogramming sessions at a one-on-one level. And that's how my clients have been able to move at a fast pace. So if you want to try it, go ahead and go and check loveholisticliving.com slash work with me. And it's going to take you to the one-on-one sessions and you can see which one you would like to take. And there is a subconscious reprogramming there. But let's really go into the fact and the reality that only 5% is your conscious brain. And according to Harvard professor Gerald Zaltman, 95% of your purchase decision making takes place in the subconscious mind. So, what it means is that your subconscious holds all the programs that control the way you think, the way you believe, the way you feel, the way you act, the way you react, and pretty much everything else that forms who you are. So think about that. Isn't that fascinating? Like today, when you say, I'm going to start the gym on Monday, I'm going to start my diet on Monday, and or I want to be healthy, but yet you keep maybe self-sabotaging that journey. Like I'm kind of like unconsciously, like you kind of like do things to push it off, right? And then at the same time, you feel like a failure. And I'm here to tell you, you are not a failure at all. You just have limiting beliefs that are stored in the subconscious mind. That's all it is. And once you go through the sessions and once you unroot them, the behavior goes away. Like you don't have to prep for these sessions and you don't have to do anything after these sessions. That's the magic. Like you go inward because the body stores it, and there's a way to access the subconscious brain. So let me give you an example to relate to the food. For example, Alicia was a client that was like a busy working mom, and her thing was like, I feel like I'm addicted to fast food. Like every time I work and then I'm driving home to see my family, and suddenly it feels like something is taking over me, and I want the fast food. Not just that I want it, it's like something like a force greater than my conscious mind is taking over. And I find myself kind of like eating fast food before I go home. Like it feels like I'm blacking out and it feels like I can't stop it. That's how people describe it. And so she always felt a failure because she's like, I can't eat healthy because I have this like strong force within me and I'm just like addicted. And I'm like, wait, wait, wait. Like, stop saying you're addicted because it's just something inside of you that gets triggered. And then that's the behavior, but that's not the root cause. So let's go into the session and find out the root cause, right? So we got into the session and what came out, which was fascinating because I always tell people like I don't know what's going to happen when we get into subconscious mind. Like everything, like the subconscious has its own rules, and whatever wants to happen. Whatever wants to be seen. So we got into the session, and she, pretty much a memory came up that she didn't remember, like from like the conscious mind, because she had blocked those memories, and like she was in a closet and she was playing with the babysitter. Like she was in the dark, stuck in a closet. And nothing really bad happened. Remember, like maybe sometimes really bad things can happen, really like traumatic events, or sometimes like you're playing and you get stuck in the dark closet and the babysitter didn't really know that that was traumatic and or where she was. And so she immediately felt alone and in fear, and it was dark, right? So growing up, every time she now drives, right? And she maybe has a moment of feeling lonely, right? Like the loneliness that got stored at that time, like comes back because it's stored out in the subconscious mind. And she doesn't remember. Now she's an adult right now with kids, a busy working mom. And then she drives home and maybe like she feels alone in that moment. Maybe she's feeling like exhausted. And then that trigger comes, boom, from the subconscious mind. And boom, she goes into the fast food and then she eats and then she binges. And it's like when we did a session and she realized the root cause, the behavior went away, right? So to me, this is fascinating. I mean, who doesn't want to do that? So another thing, for example, um, I'm gonna give you my personal example of what happened to me when I started my business because I in Italy. So I grew up in Italy, and I was always kind of like very social, but I had more guys friends than girlfriends. And since I was a kid, I swear to God, like a lot of girls did not like me, and they kind of pushed me away and or kept me out of the group, right? And I specifically like I didn't remember really what happened, but then in the subconscious session when I did that to myself, it came out that we were at the playground, and like they favored my friend, and like they kind of like didn't even look at me, and they kind of kept me separated from the group. And I grew up, with this limiting beliefs that women don't like me and that I couldn't relate. Like I wanted to build a business connected to the women's body primarily. I work with men too, but like I wanted to connect with women and I found myself scared and I didn't know what to do. And so when I got out of the subconscious reprogramming session, everything started to change because that was resolved and I started attracting and women and working with women at a consistent basis. So to me, this is absolutely priceless in terms of shifting your life at a very fast pace. And again, that's the difference that I tell people between therapy and subconscious reprogramming and working with a healer. Now, not every healer can do this, but that's one of the sessions I offer because I did go to therapy, when I had my eating disorders. I started there and it did not help me. And I'm not saying that therapists don't help because my best friend is a therapist and we always have this conversation of I think we need to work together, but therapy kind of brings you to the light of certain things and then there is a place where you need to heal them and you can't heal them from a conscious mind. You have to go into the subconscious. You have to do maybe like different healing. And then the second modality that I use, I mean, is channeling and moving energy. But does that make sense? So a lot of the times clients are like, I've been in therapy for 10 years. This is not going away. Why? And so you can't heal something from the conscious brain because every time I try to, or you can try it right now, ask yourself, like, when did it start? You don't know. But the moment we enter the subconscious mind knows. And I want to also say that you don't need to remember what happened in order to heal it. So the subconscious acts in a very particular way and funny way where we call it the imagination. So a lot of the times it doesn't make sense, memories and things that the subconscious mind makes up. So for example, when we enter a session, you could literally be talking to a lemon. But that lemon is what the subconscious created in order to keep you safe so that you can resolve the root cause without going into maybe like meeting the abuser or meeting that trauma. Because at the same time, we don't want to re traumatize clients. So it's super safe and it's super colorful in so many ways. And I tell people, like, be open to whatever is happening. And if we have to talk literally to a lemon, that's fine. No biggies, right? But that's how we shift. We shift from a place of the body stores the answers and the body is connected to the subconscious mind because the body acts like the subconscious mind. And then you're seeing the symptoms. Today, you're seeing the weight gain. Today, you're seeing um, the cell, like the acne. But there is a deeper root cause here if it comes from the energetics. So again, when we look at the root cause, there is always like a physical, emotional, and energetic root cause. The subconscious reprogramming acts to release and relieve the energetic cause. So the fear that you may be having, like for example, let me just give you an example, and I'll be talking much more in depth about this concept in another episode. But one of the fear that someone has when they lose weight or they need to lose weight, like that is a self-sabotaging like kind of behavior that they have. They don't even realize that. until they enter the subconscious. And the kind of number one fear that I see is fear of being seen, because they've been hiding behind their weight for so long that it's easier in some ways to be hidden. It's easier to enter a room and like kind of like not be seen. But when you start losing weight, when you start to maybe like be more attractive, and not like you can still be attractive, but you know what I mean. The eyes are on you, and for some people is very uncomfortable. So think about that. Not that you have to find the root cause right now, but what if there was a deeper cause why your health journey is not working out? And what if it wasn't completely about you, or, the determination? Because some people are like, it's all about being determined, it's all about going to the gym and be consistent. But what if there is a deeper root cause that it's preventing you from going there? Because there is that deep fear, and fear is a feeling and an emotion that has to be there because it's meant to protect us. But what if you're trying to scale the business? What if you're trying to improve your health and or want to meet a healthy partner, but it feels like you can't? And if that's you, I encourage you to either read the chapter of my book and buy the book because that's very insightful, and or try a session, a subconscious reprogramming session, and see what comes up and see how your behavior changes in less than 2 weeks. Because it's all about looking at patterns. So one of the biggest, thing that I do is looking at patterns. Okay, when is the binging happening, and or what what is that you're doing with the weight gain? Like what is happening in the pattern? Like you eat and then you feel guilty and then you restrict. Like different people have different patterns, and you kind of need to understand what's yours. And again, that is how I've been able to shift my entire existence in a very fast like stage of life. I mean, in less than 4 years, I've built a career, a dream career in the field that I want to be in, and I'm able to support my kids in a foreign country, not having to support, a family here. And um, it's something that I want to see more for other women and also for other people. So my message is don't let your limiting beliefs hold you back from becoming the healthiest version of yourself, and or from building the life of your dreams, and or from meeting your divine life partner. Like, no, don't let those limiting beliefs, don't let the past dictate who you are today or who you're becoming. And yeah, so that was the episode to help you understand how the subconscious mind works and plays a vital role in the decision making that we, make today. And again, if you want to learn more or take a session, please visit lovealisticliving.com/work with me. And you'll find the subconscious reprogramming and or other sessions. And let me know your thoughts. And a big ciao from your Italian